right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Dimensions podcast. As always, I'm your host, Smitty, back with another one. And before I start talking about y'all, let me talk about myself, man. So a couple housekeeping items. One, shout out to my brother, Portrait Pat on Instagram, and his bro, Josh. They have a photo studio in Bridgeport, Connecticut called JPEG Studio. It is a dope spot. They had an open house the other day, this past weekend. They are a part of the Bridgeport Art Trail. They're one of the stops on the Bridgeport Art Trail. Had him featured in the article and everything like that. It was a dope experience. So to see where he's come with his craft, with photography, with video, graphic design, everything, you name it, to see where he's come with that and to see where he's continuing to go with that is great to see it up close. A lot of the photos that you've seen of Daily Dimensions, of Jordan speaking and all of that, a lot of the early photos, Patrick was taking them, man. So you look at my profile picture right now on Instagram and LinkedIn and all them places, Patrick took that. So shout out to the bro, man. Anything about me? Nah. It's been a calm week and I'm grateful for that, right? I don't get too many weeks where there's not a life event or a responsibility or something taking place that I got to attend to. It's been a chill week. And I'm grateful for a chill week because out of the 52 weeks of the year, I might get 6 chill ones. And this is one of the 6. So shout out to me for having a chill week. Also, as always, if you are looking for faith-based Christian apparel, look no further than ubgclothing.com, used by God clothing. They have hoodies, sweatshirts, hats, necklaces, jewelry, you name it, they got it. Rep your faith proudly with ubgclothing.com. And if you use my code DAILY15, you will get 15% off of your order. Yes, I said it, 15%. So go to ubgclothing.com. Tell them Smitty sent you. We appreciate you tapping in. Now, let's get into the episode. So this one I'm excited about. And I say this for every episode. I'm excited about every episode because I'm excited about what I do. Right. But having this opportunity to sit here and chat with y'all, it does a lot for me, right? To be able to sit here and impact y'all in the way that I do, to have the listeners that I do, to reach the people that I do, to make the impact that I do. It means so much to me, which is why every episode I'm here and I'm like, yo, I'm super excited to share this with y'all. So even as I'm doing my notes, and some of them I don't even do notes, it's just top of the dome. But this one I said, no, we have to sit down and do notes for this one. So this episode is called Purpose Over Popularity. Choosing obedience over clout, and how chasing purpose gives a peace that popularity never can. Boy, all right, let's get into it. So there's a big difference between purpose and popularity. And for me, that big difference starts in the heart. And we'll tie all that in at the end of it. But there's a big difference between purpose and popularity. There's a big difference between doing something because it's meaningful and it's impactful and you feel called to do it. There's another thing where you're doing that same thing, but you're doing it because you want the clout that comes with it. You may want the recognition that comes with it. You want the fame, the notoriety. You may want the monetary things that come with it, the fringe benefits that come with it, if you will. You know, you get what I'm saying? You just may want that clout that comes with it. And now you're in it for, let me not even say the right reasons, but not meaningful reasons, right? More of a self-fulfilling reason. And I think that when we examine why we do the things that we do, especially the things that we find identity in or become what people see us for or know us for, right? It becomes our identity to other people. We may not even see ourselves in it, but other people see it in us. We really got to ask ourselves, why are we doing it? Right. And there's so much to the why. What is your why? Why do you wake up in the morning and do what you do every day that you do it, whether you like to do it or not? What's the why? Why do you spend so much time invested in this thing that you do? Why do you spend so much time catering to this thing that you do? Are you doing it because it's purpose driven? Are you doing it because it's popularity driven? Real questions that need real answers. So when we talk about popularity focuses on image and vanity. And you could get into the game because, right, let's just use podcasting for an example. You could jump into podcasting and say, you know, I just want to be the biggest podcast out there. Biggest, how do we measure that, right? Are you talking about, I just want the most viewers? Are you talking about I want the most popularity? I want the most brand deals. I want the most recognition. I want to be nationally recognized, globally recognized. Like, what do you mean by biggest? Or you could step into the game in a fashion that I think I'm in now, right? Not in the beginning, but now, where I'm just looking to make impact, right? I'm looking to forever change the lives of my listeners, even if it's just me planting the seed, and then eventually that seed that I planted through these episodes, through these speaking engagements, through all these trainings and opportunities, eventually that seed gets watered by somebody else, right? It's not even my job to water that seed or to nurture that seed, but as long as I'm planting it, right? As long as I'm dropping these breadcrumbs that ultimately lead you the trail back to the main thing, then I've done my job. Right. I've done what I came here to do. And early on in the beginning, I definitely was 50-50 on my focus. Right. I wanted to make an impact because this podcast came from a deep personal place. Right. I had navigated so much in my life. And as I found myself getting better, I said, I have something to share with people. And I felt like I had a duty to share these things with people, the things I've learned, the things I've experienced, what I've gone through. I've quite literally over the last 5 years poured out almost every aspect of my life on this podcast on display for you, my listeners, to be able to learn from my life, right? To see what I've walked through, whether it's bad relationships, family dynamics, walking away from a job, giving away my car, depression, imposter syndrome, suicidal ideation, everything that I've ever talked about and poured out about my life. Like there's no shame in any piece of my life. Like I've shared it all with you. And it's come from a place of like, I have to share this story, right? There's intention there, but also I can't lie to you and say when I started this thing, I was like, man, I really want to be the biggest podcast out there. You know, I would say things like, I'm your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. And I meant that. Still kind of mean it. Yeah, I still kind of mean it, but I don't say that no more. You know, things like, you know, biggest podcast in Connecticut, or the biggest mental health podcast in Connecticut, biggest mental health and wellness podcast in Connecticut. And although all those things can be true, and dare I say at times have been true, it's not for me to come out here and be braggadocious about myself and be like, yo, we the biggest, we the best. You know, on my DJ Khaled, we the best. No, it's not for me to say. It's for the people to decide. Because at the end of the day, you could have the numbers. You could be listened to in multiple countries. You could be this, you could be that. But it's not for me to sit here and say I'm the best. No. And I'm big on now who's making the impact. You know, who's out here doing it for the right reasons, who's out here doing it because this is what they care about and they feel like this is their purpose. One person that I really enjoy, and I can't say that I watch everything that he does now because I hardly watch anything now. I barely watch. My friends be trying to tell me to watch so many animes, and it's been the same animes for like the last 3 years, and promise you, haven't watched none of them. Haven't watched none of them. It's hard for me to watch things now. I'm older. I'd be busy. But my boy K, Kickback with K, and now it's what, Music with K and Kai. He's got a new platform that he's doing. I think that's what it's called. And that man is super consistent. I watched that man build out something the same way I've built this out in my basement. That man built it out of his garage and now has moved on to newer and better things and does interviews with a lot of different people. And you can see with him, it's not about I'm trying to be the best ever. He actually enjoys what he does, right? He actually loves what he does. And I remember I had him on a podcast and I asked him, I said, what's the mountaintop? And he said, there is no mountaintop. You know, there is no mountaintop. It's just doing what you love and doing it because you care and you really want to get good at it. You really want to like fill a space and get in there and leave a legacy. And I think that that's more important than anything. You know, when I look at this pod, leaving a legacy is what it's about. So popularity focuses on image and vanity, where purpose focuses on intention and calling. And I've rode both lines of that. And now I'm on the side of intention and calling. And I also want to just inform people like, right, popularity is not, it don't matter. Right. And we may sit there and be like, at this big age, people may be like, I don't care about popularity. Not necessarily true. You care about how many likes you get on a post. I know you do. I know you do, because I care. And I'm learning to not care. I actually turned off my like count because like counts make me anxious. I turn it off, and just what I post is what I post. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. But I'm going to post the content anyway. But you care about how many likes you get. You care about what filter you chose for that story. You care about the presentation, how you're received, who notices the fit, who compliments you. You care about those things. You care about the women that come with what you do. You care about the men that lay their eyes on you. You care about being perceived a certain way, right? You care about coming across a certain way. The likes in your story, you care about it. It matters to you. It does something for your ego. It does something for your self-esteem. I get it. So to say you don't care about popularity, cool. Not true. It's not about, oh, I'm the coolest person out there, right? Because in today's day and age, what is cool anyway? But the gratification that you get from these things, right? That does something for that ego and for that inner piece of you that is still wrapped up in how people see you and what their opinion is. You still do that. That still matters to you. And in that regard, it's popularity. But how many people like your content? How many people send hard eyes to your story? How many people slide in your DMs? How many people be like, yo, bro, that's tough. That's a fire fit. How many people repost your stuff? None of that really matters. And to take it a step further on the grand scale of popularity and how much popularity doesn't matter, right? We could even take it to a political realm. You can, in a presidential race, right, win the popular vote. You can win the popular vote and still not become president. You can win the popular vote and still not win the election. We've seen it happen before. That's how much this popularity stuff does not matter. If it don't matter for the presidency, it don't matter for your Instagram. It don't matter for your Snapchat or whatever platform you find yourself on. It do not matter, right? Find gratification in other things. Popularity makes no difference in this world. But what makes a difference in this world is purpose. Purpose leads to a shift and a change and makes the world a different place. When you move with intentionality, the world will move with you and you'll see the changes, man. There's a Bible verse I want to get into that kind of ties into this, right? And somehow, some way, we always find a way to include God in here. And I love that about me. I'm not going to stop doing it. But Matthew 23, verses 11 through 12, right? And it says, but he who is greatest among you shall be your servant, and whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Bang, right? So right there, the most powerful person among you, the greatest among you, the most impactful person among you is the one who is serving, right? The one who is a servant, not the person who's in the highest position of leadership, not the person who's in the highest position of authority, not the most popular person, not the richest person, not the most wealthiest person, but the person that serves. And it's the person that serves for a reason, because when it comes to service, it's about intentionality. It's about putting others before yourself. It's about trying to make everyone else's life better through your service, right? When I was in grad school, right, I got a degree, master's in management and organizational leadership. And we talked about leadership in all forms, positive leadership, motivational leadership, that you name it. But one of the big things we talked about was servant leadership. And I think is Robert Greenleaf is like the granddaddy of them all when it comes to servant leadership, I believe. And, he spoke highly of servant leadership. And then there's some books that I read that were about servant leadership, and I got them up in my room. I'm trying to remember the titles as I'm like I can envision the book. But in that book, there was a man who was examining all these different examples of servant leadership, and his ultimate level of servant leadership came back to Jesus. And Jesus's whole life existence was a clear-cut and perfect example of service and servant leadership. And you see how effective Jesus's servant leadership was, so effective that he's still talked about to this day. and the popularity came with it. I mean, but he didn't do it to be popular. He didn't do it to be noticed. He actually didn't want to be noticed. I want to say it's in Mark chapter 2, because we're doing this in my Bible study, and this is why Bible study is important. But in Mark chapter 2, early on in his ministry, bro was out here like healing people, right? And one time he healed everybody. And now I'm going to find this verse now. Now I got to put it in. Let me write that in my paper. Add Mark 2. I'll find the verses. But bro was preaching in the town, healed everybody in the town. And there was moments where as he's healing people, he's like, yo, don't tell nobody I did this. Because he didn't want the attention. There was, I think, one time he healed a leper. And after he healed that leper, he said, don't tell nobody I did this. Go do the sacrifices that Moses taught you, and then tell the leaders in your town, like, you're clean now because of these sacrifices. Don't tell them it's because I cleaned you. And brother went out and did the exact opposite of what Jesus told him to do and said, yo, Jesus healed me, dog. It's lit. That's not how he said it, but I imagine that's how he said it. And did not listen to what Jesus told him. And it brought mad attention. And it was hard for Jesus to really preach and be impactful in the way that he could be early on, because of the constant popularity and the reason people were coming to him, right? If you have a crowd of people, if your ultimate intention was to point people back to God, right? And people are only showing up to you because they just want to be healed, they're not all there for the right reason. They're missing the message. And Jesus knew that. He was like, yo, bro, if these people are just showing up for healing, they're not really here for the right reason. It's not really the right message. They missing the point. Some of them are getting it, but most of them are not. Yeah. And that's why he told that leper, he said, yo, bro, tell him bring it back to Jesus and bring it back to God. It's not about me. It's about God. So even in that regard, servant leadership, everything. And he didn't want to be exalted in that way. He was still trying to point it back to the Father, right? So taking it to the point of whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Jesus humbled himself a lot. Just coming down here chilling with us, just humbling experience, because we raggedy down here. He ain't need to come down here with us. But that verse speaks so much to even today. You don't need to do the bragging for yourself. You don't need to come out here and say I'm this and I'm that and puff yourself up with pride. Humble yourself. Humble yourself, because there's always those people that come out there and I'm this and I'm that and da 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 da, and then we watch them fall, and now we all in the group chat talking about how we watched this person fall. And it's like, dang, they used to be lit. Now look at them, man. Remember when they used to be da 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 da? Look at them now. That's crazy how life come at you fast. And now you know what I'm saying? Don't be that person in that group chat because you fell off after you puffed yourself up with pride and told everybody how great you are, and flex the cars and flex the chains and flex the vacations and flex the woman and all the Don Julio bottles, and now you broke. Or don't be that person that's on Instagram flexing, and now I see you working at Mad Rag. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Mad Rag, but like, come on, like, humble yourself, people. We gotta be consistent with it, man. You blessed with a gift. Use your gift for the right reasons. Let's not puff ourselves up with pride. But I also want to speak on humility in the fact of humility is not weakness. I think that there's been some discussion online, and I'm trying to remember if me and my friends had this conversation. I have so many conversations. I don't remember if it started online with my friends or sometimes it's both. But especially among men, sometimes there is this idea, not all men, some men, never anything I say is all men, but there's pockets that, you know, and enough that it comes to my attention and now we talk about it. But some men will see being humble as weakness, or being humble as making yourself small, or being humble as a lack of confidence, or like you don't believe in your abilities. And that could not be the furthest thing from the truth. Humble is understanding who you are and what you are at all times, and not feeling the need to lead with that, right? You live it, but you don't have to talk it. You know, I know that I am a great friend, a great family member. I'm a great speaker. I'm good with podcasts. I leave impacts, and all of this is substantiated and backed up by reviews I've gotten, places I've spoken, doors I've walked into. And I could sit here and say to y'all, yeah, I'm this and I'm that. No, I sit here and serve y'all, right? I'm here for y'all every week. I don't get up here and say, yeah, I'm this and I'm that. Y'all say that. Right? Y'all say that, and not even in so many words, but y'all say it through how you show love to me. I've had people donate to this podcast and everything that I do financially on multiple occasions. And that's confirmation that, like, yo, Jordan, I believe in what you're doing. You're making an impact, and you are who you believe you are, because I see it. Bang. My friend Nate, bro, is a blessing. He said, bro, I want to give you free haircuts every time you have a speaking engagement. I'll come cut your hair. And he would come right here where I'm sitting right now and come to my basement and cut my hair for free. Not because I sat here and said, yo, I'm the biggest, I'm the best, da, 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 but because I had a clear cut mission and a vision. He believed in it, and he felt led to do that. And I'm forever grateful for Nate, man. Me and Nate like this, brother. Like, I got to check in on him now and see how he's doing with school. But that's bro. And there's so many more stories like that. And that comes from me humbling myself, going back to the verse. Humble yourself and you'll be exalted. Exalt yourself, you will be humbled. There's no weakness in me, right? You may see Smitty as like, oh, Smitty's so peaceful and Smitty's this. My greatest strength is how humble I am, right? Greatest strength is my faith. Greatest strength is having self-control, right? And I don't need to get up here and tell you every day who I am for you to understand who I am, right? The proof is in the pudding. You see my life. You see where I speak. You see where I go. You see what I do. And then when you meet me in person, everything you see right here, right now, I'm the same in person. There's no cap in my rap. I'm consistent everywhere I go. And if you've had the pleasure of knowing me over the years, I've been this from when you meet me to now, I've been the same person. And if I've changed, it's only been for the better. And it's only benefited our relationships for the better. So humility is not weakness. You know, it doesn't mean that you lack confidence because you're not talking about yourself or puffing yourself up or like, oh, I'm him. I don't need to get on the internet and say I'm him to already know that I am. I know who I am for real. And I walk in that confidence of knowing who I am. But every space, if I walk in every space loud and trying to draw that attention and trying to be the big dog in the room, one, I make myself a target. Two, I'm projecting some level of insecurity that I need to be noticed and paid attention to in that regard. And three, it kills your opportunity to really connect with people, right? I walk into every room with the confidence of knowing who I am, but the humbleness to know that I need to learn from everybody in this room that I've walked into. And I'm not going to learn from anybody in this room if I'm projecting that I know it all and I have it all. If I project that I'm open-minded and ready to learn and ready to receive something from you, I promise you I will. What they say, you attract more flies with honey than vinegar. Like that pride is that vinegar, man. And humble humility is that honey. There is no weakness in being humble as a man. Your strength is in being humble and knowing when it's time to be to project strength, right? And knowing when to be calm, right? Not every time do you need to show up as the warrior. Sometimes you just need to show up as the chief, as the strategist, you know, and knowing when and where to display different levels of your masculinity is super important. You cannot be 100% alpha male, Andrew Tate, all these red pill, blue pill. You can't be that 100% of the time. You sound crazy. You look crazy. You really dumb for that. There's different aspects of what your masculinity is. There's different aspects of who you are as a person, and knowing when and where to deploy each piece of you is important. And humility is a piece of that. That is one of the most important. It's not a weakness. Now, bringing it back to what I said before, as we're getting ready to close out this episode, I want everybody to look at your motivations, right? Look at your motivations and it will reveal whether it's purpose or popularity, or purpose or profit, right? If you are in something because you just want to get rich, you just want to make some money, you just want your life to look a certain way, you just don't want to work a 9 to 5 no more, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Understand it. Logical, not purpose. If you are in something because you feel led to do this, if you find a strong sense of peace and joy in what you do and satisfaction in what you do, because most people are not satisfied or find joy in the things that they do for a living. If you are someone who just feels like this is where you're supposed to be, or you want to change your life, you want to help women that look like you, help men that look like you want to make sure someone never has this experience that you've had ever again. You know, part of why I do my cookout is I have a number of people that I've grown up with commit suicide. I never want to see another person that I know walk that way again. So I do these events so they could never say there was never an opportunity for me to have this space to talk to somebody, because I make that space, right? So purpose or popularity, look at your motivations, look at your intentions, and look at what is the most important thing behind what it is that you do or are trying to do or are going to school to do, in a program to do, working to do, building around to do. And it'll let you know, is it purpose or is it popularity? Is it purpose or is it just the profit? And for my fellas, is it purpose or punani? Like, let's talk about it. Are you in it because you really want to do this, or are you doing it because the huzz is there? Let's talk about it. But we'll do that on a different day. I appreciate y'all indulging me in this episode. This is actually one of our longer episodes. I've been keeping them to about 20. We closing in on about 26, 27 right now. I like that for me, and I like that for y'all. So I appreciate y'all sticking with me. If you made it to the end of the episode, please like, comment, subscribe, and rate us 5 stars on whatever your listening platform is. That boosts us in the algorithm, allows us to reach more people and impact more lives, because again, it's all about purpose and not the popularity. So until next time, this is Daily Dimensions. We love y'all. Peace.